Hello everyone, welcome to the Mysterious Stories channel, where you'll discover the most mysterious, scary, and fascinating stories. Make sure to turn up the volume and get ready for a spine-chilling experience you won't forget.
Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni, the red and blue Oni. In the tapestry of Japanese folklore, few entities are as iconic as the Hanako-Oni red Oni and Ao-Oni blue Oni. These towering, horned demons symbolize the duality of human nature, representing raw emotion, primal power, and the eternal balance between positive and negative forces. Though often depicted as polar opposites, both are equally feared for their terrifying strength and capacity to wreak havoc. The appearance of the Oni, Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni, are fearsome creatures of legend. Hanako-Oni red Oni. Known for its fiery red skin, Hanako-Oni represents unrestrained rage, passion, and destructive fury. Its eyes burn with malice, and its fang mouth twists into a sadistic grin. Ao-Oni blue Oni. With chilling blue skin, Ao-Oni symbolizes cold calculation, sorrow, and vengeful cunning. Its demeanor is no less menacing, its piercing gaze said to freeze the hearts of those who meet its eyes. Both Oni wield massive iron clubs, known as kanabo, which they use to crush anything in their path. Their horns, claws, and towering size make them nightmares incarnate, whether encountered in ancient tales or modern imaginings. The duality of Oni, allies or enemies, Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni, are often portrayed as polar opposites, embodying the push and pull between extremes of human emotion. Hanako-Oni, its rage is primal and uncontrollable, like a wildfire that consumes everything in its path. Hanako-Oni may appear during times of great anger or conflict, its arrival heralding destruction. Ao-Oni, unlike its fiery counterpart, Ao-Oni's malevolence is calculating. It waits for the right moment to strike, weaving elaborate schemes that ensnare the unwary. Despite their differences, both Oni occasionally appear together, their unity symbolizing the fragile balance between chaos and order. Ancient encounters with the Oni. The origins of the Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni legends trace back to Japan's early myths and rural communities, village terrors. In ancient times, stories tell of villages besieged by Oni, with Hanako-Oni burning fields in fits of rage while Ao-Oni poisoned rivers or whispered curses upon the land. In these tales, villagers would often band together, seeking the aid of priests or samurai to banish the demons. Cunning tricks. One of the most famous stories involves Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni conspiring to deceive a village. While Hanako-Oni created a distraction with its fiery rampage, Ao-Oni crept into homes, stealing food and valuables. Modern-day sightings and fear. While Oni are seen as figures of legend, modern tales suggest their presence lingers, urban legends. Travelers recount stories of encountering strange, towering figures on lonely mountain paths or hearing guttural laughter echoing in the night. These are often attributed to Oni. Supernatural hauntings. Some believe Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni appear as omens of disaster, manifesting in dreams or shadows before major calamities. Real-world parallels. Psychologists suggest that these tales may stem from human fears of unchecked anger or emotional manipulation, with Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni serving as metaphors for internal struggles. Why are they so terrifying? The fear of Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni lies in their ability to embody both external and internal threats. Unstoppable power. Their physical strength and supernatural abilities make them nearly invincible foes. Psychological horror. Ao-Oni's manipulation and Hanako-Oni's uncontrollable rage represent the darker sides of human nature, forcing people to confront their own vulnerabilities. The balance of fear. The concept of two opposing forces working in tandem taps into primal fears of the unknown and uncontrollable. Cultural significance. Oni are deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, often appearing in festivals, art, and literature. Setsubin Festival. During this annual event, participants throw beans while chanting Oni Washington Soto, Fuku Washington Uchi. Demons out, luck in, to drive away evil spirits. Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni are often depicted as the targets of this ritual. Lessons in morality. Stories of Hanako-Oni and Ao-Oni often serve as cautionary tales, teaching the importance of self-control, balance, and the consequences of succumbing to negative emotions. Futakuchi-onna, the woman with two mouths. Among Japan's most chilling yokai is the Futakuchi-onna, a woman cursed with a second mouth hidden at the back of her head. This grotesque feature isn't just horrifying in appearance, it hungers insatiably, often driving its host to madness or destruction. The legend of Futakuchi-onna. The Futakuchi-onna is typically depicted as a seemingly ordinary woman, beautiful, quiet, and modest. But beneath her serene exterior lies a dark secret, a hidden mouth, lined with sharp teeth, concealed beneath her hair. This second mouth is alive, with a mind of its own, whispering, screaming, and demanding food. The origin of this yokai varies across regions, but a common thread binds these tales: a life marred by greed, guilt, or neglect. The Miser's Wife. One popular story involves a miserly man who marries a woman renowned for her small appetite. She eats very little, which pleases her husband, as he hates spending money. However, as time passes, he notices their food supplies disappearing at an alarming rate. One day, he spies on his wife and discovers the horrifying truth. Her hair parts, revealing a second mouth at the back of her head, which devours food ferociously. A mother's curse. Another tale tells of a cruel stepmother who starves her stepchild to death. Racked with guilt, she finds herself cursed, with the child's spirit manifesting as the second mouth. It screams at her day and night, demanding to be fed, a torment she cannot escape. Encounters. In the past, the Futakuchi-onna's presence in historical Japan was often tied to rural villages, where food scarcity heightened fears of supernatural punishment. Whispering shadows. Villagers claimed to hear strange whispers at night, coming from women accused of being Futakuchi-onna. These whispers grew louder when food was nearby, adding to the fear and superstition surrounding the yokai. Mysterious starvation. Farmers told stories of crops vanishing overnight or granaries emptied without explanation. Superstitious villagers often blamed a Futakuchi-onna, believing her second mouth could summon food from afar. Modern sightings and interpretations. While Futakuchi-onna stories are rooted in the past, their influence lingers in modern Japan, evolving to reflect contemporary fears and anxieties. Urban legends. Some city dwellers claim to have encountered women who avoid mirrors or wear their hair in elaborate styles to conceal something unsettling. These sightings are often dismissed as urban myths, but they continue to spark fear. Psychological parallels. In modern contexts, the Futakuchi-onna is sometimes seen as a metaphor for duality and hidden struggles, such as eating disorders or mental health issues. The second mouth becomes a symbol of inner torment that one struggles to control. Online tales. Social media has revitalized the legend, with users sharing eerie artwork, short films, and even alleged recordings of whispers attributed to a Futakuchi-onna. These retellings often amplify the horror, depicting the second mouth as a monstrous entity capable of devouring not just food, but souls. Why is Futakuchi-onna so terrifying? The legend's horror lies in its ability to transform something ordinary into a source of nightmare. The disturbing transformation. The idea that someone beautiful and kind could hide such a grotesque and malevolent secret plays on fears of deception and the unknown. Loss of control. The second mouth represents an uncontrollable force, driving its host to insanity or death. Its insatiable hunger mirrors humanity's own fear of excess and self-destruction, close to home. Unlike distant monsters, the Futakuchi-onna blends seamlessly into society, making her harder to detect and avoid. Cultural significance. Futakuchi-onna has long been a cautionary figure in Japanese folklore. The dangers of greed. Many versions of the tale warn against selfishness and miserliness, suggesting that greed can manifest in monstrous ways. Respect for the dead. Tales linking the Futakuchi-onna to curses or guilt highlight the importance of honoring familial bonds and avoiding harm to others. Hyakume, the spirit of 100 eyes. In the depths of Japanese folklore lies the enigmatic Hyakume, a creature of countless eyes, each shimmering with a watchful and eerie glow. Known for its territorial nature and unyielding vengeance against those who steal its eyes, Hyakume is both a protector of sacred places and a harbinger of relentless pursuit. Origins and appearance. The name Hyakume translates to 100 eyes, and its appearance lives up to its name. Its body is covered with countless eyes that seem to watch in every direction simultaneously. It has a vaguely humanoid form, though its features are grotesque and distorted, with a leathery, pale skin that highlights its eyes. Hanako is known to inhabit abandoned temples, shrines, or forests, acting as a guardian of places forgotten by time. Encounters in the past. Hanako's story is rooted in Japan's long history of yokai that blend fear and respect for the unseen. It is said to be a guardian spirit that attacks only when provoked, particularly by those who try to desecrate sacred grounds or steal its precious eyes. The temple intruder. In one tale, a thief attempting to rob an old temple encountered Hanako. The creature emerged from the shadows, its countless eyes glowing with anger. Though the thief fled, Hanako's vengeance did not stop, hunting him relentlessly until he begged for forgiveness. The curious traveler. A curious traveler who wandered into a forgotten shrine at twilight reported seeing hundreds of eyes staring at him from the darkness. He retreated without causing harm, and Hanako allowed him to leave unharmed, a lesson in respecting sacred spaces. The vengeful pursuit. A village elder spoke of a tale where someone managed to steal one of Hanako's eyes, thinking it was a valuable jewel. The Hanako pursued the thief through forests, over rivers, and even into the village, causing chaos until the eye was returned. Modern-day sightings and relevance. Though encounters with Hanako are rare in the present day, its legend persists in subtle ways. Cultural preservation. Hanako's story is often told as a cautionary tale, reminding people to respect abandoned or sacred sites. Many locals believe the spirit still guards neglected temples, deterring vandalism. Urban legends. In modern urban legends, Hanako is said to haunt isolated forests and abandoned buildings. Stories circulate of hikers or explorers feeling watched and glimpsing glowing eyes in the darkness. Pop culture appearances. Hanako has found its way into manga, anime, and video games, often as a mystical or menacing figure. Its unique visual appeal and mysterious nature make it a favorite for modern storytellers. Why Hanako endures as a legend. Symbol of vigilance. Hanako serves as a metaphor for being watched, whether by spirits, society, or one's own conscience. Its unrelenting pursuit of stolen eyes mirrors the idea that actions, especially malicious ones, have consequences. Connection to sacredness. In Japan's Shinto and Buddhist traditions, the protection of sacred spaces is a recurring theme. Hanako embodies this role as a fierce guardian. Fear of the unseen. The idea of countless eyes observing from the darkness taps into a primal fear, making Hanako's legend resonate across generations. Inugami, the dog spirit of vengeance. Among Japan's myriad supernatural entities, the Inugami dog spirit stands out as a uniquely terrifying and tragic figure. These vengeful spirits, created through dark rituals, are both feared and respected for their immense power. But they are also notorious for their unpredictability and violent tendencies, making them as dangerous to their creators as they are to their targets. What is an Inugami? An Inugami is not a natural spirit but a creation born of cruelty and desperation. These entities are summoned through a gruesome ritual meant to bind the spirit of a dog to a human master. Once created, the Inugami becomes a loyal servant, executing the master's will often in the form of exacting revenge on enemies. However, an Inugami's loyalty comes at a steep price. Their spirits are volatile, often harboring lingering resentment from the torturous process that created them. If disrespected or mistreated, an Inugami can turn on its master with terrifying consequences. The ritual of creation. The origins of the Inugami are steeped in darkness and cruelty. According to ancient folklore, selection of the dog. A dog, typically one beloved by its owner or known for its loyalty, is chosen for the ritual. Starvation and death. The dog is buried up to its neck and left to starve, with food placed just out of reach. This cruel act fills the animal with rage and desperation as it dies. Severing the head. The dog's head is then severed and enshrined, with rituals performed to bind its spirit, a pact of blood. The master offers their blood to the spirit, creating a bond that allows them to control the Inugami. This grotesque process imbues the spirit with an insatiable thirst for vengeance, making it a fearsome weapon but also a ticking time bomb. Ancient encounters with Inugami. In the distant past, inugami were sought by those desperate for power or retribution. Village feuds, stories abound of rival families using inugami to sabotage each other. Entire villages would be terrorized as these spirits wreaked havoc, killing livestock, cursing children, and even driving people to madness. Betrayal and retribution. In one chilling tale, a samurai summoned an inugami to punish a deceitful lord. The inugami succeeded but then turned on its master, resentful of its tortured existence. The samurai's household fell into ruin, haunted by the relentless spirit. Modern sightings and fear. Though the practice of summoning inugami is now forbidden and considered taboo, modern stories suggest these spirits still linger. Urban legends. In rural areas, tales persist of ghostly dogs appearing at night, their eyes glowing with malevolence. Farmers claim to hear growls in the wind or find claw marks on their doors after refusing offerings to appease the spirits. Possession. Some believe that the restless spirits of inugami possess humans, causing erratic behavior, violent outbursts, and physical ailments. Spiritual healers and exorcists are often called upon to expel such entities. Revenge gone wrong. There are whispered stories of individuals turning to dark online forums or occultists to summon an inugami for modern acts of vengeance. Inevitably, these attempts end in tragedy, with the spirit turning on its summoner. Why is the inugami so terrifying? The fear surrounding the inugami lies in its complex nature, unpredictability. The inugami's loyalty is conditional, and even the slightest misstep can unleash its fury. Gruesome origins. The horrifying process of its creation evokes pity and dread, making the inugami a tragic yet menacing figure. Relentless pursuit. Once summoned, an inugami does not rest until its task is complete or its rage is sated. Lingering presence. Even after fulfilling its mission, the inugami's spirit may linger, haunting its master or location for generations. Cultural significance. The inugami reflects Japan's complex relationship with loyalty, revenge, and the consequences of unchecked ambition. While tales of inugami serve as cautionary stories against cruelty and hubris, they also highlight the dangers of seeking power through immoral means. Iden-momen, the flying cloth of death. Among Japan's vast pantheon of yokai, Iden-momen is one of the most deceptively terrifying. On the surface, it appears as a harmless, fluttering strip of white cloth gliding through the night sky. But beneath this benign appearance lies a deadly force capable of strangling its victims to death without warning. What is Iden-momen? Translated as one-tan cotton, Iden-momen is a long, narrow piece of fabric, typically 10 meters in length, that roams the night in search of prey. It drifts through the air with an almost hypnotic grace, often unnoticed until it strikes. With uncanny precision, it wraps itself around its victim's neck, cutting off their breath as they struggle in vain against its supernatural grip. Origins of the legend. The origins of Iden-momen are shrouded in mystery, but several theories attempt to explain its terrifying existence. The haunted cloth. Some stories suggest that Iden-momen are cursed remnants of cloth used in burial rites or other sacred ceremonies. Neglected or disrespected over time, they are said to transform into vengeful spirits. Embodiment of laborers' struggles. Another interpretation ties Iden-momen to the textile industry in ancient Japan, particularly in rural areas where weaving was a way of life. Overworked and exhausted laborers often feared their own tools, imagining the cloth coming alive as a manifestation of their suffering. Encounters in the past. Iden-momen has been a recurring figure in folktales, often striking terror into rural communities. The Midnight Strangler. A popular tale tells of a farmer returning home late at night. As he walked through a deserted field, he noticed a strange, white strip of cloth hovering in the moonlight. Before he could react, it darted toward him, wrapping around his neck with lightning speed. His screams were muffled as the fabric tightened. His body was discovered the next morning, pale and lifeless, with mysterious red marks around his neck. The priest's protection. In another story, a wandering monk was targeted by an Iden-momen during his travels. However, the monk recited sutras, causing the cloth to unravel and disintegrate into ash. Villagers praised him as a hero, though the monk insisted it was their collective fear that had given the yokai its power. Modern sightings and urban legends. Though rooted in ancient folklore, stories of Itten-momen continue to surface, especially in rural and mountainous regions. Nighttime sightings. Some residents claim to have seen strips of white fabric floating eerily in the distance during moonlit nights. While skeptics dismiss these as ordinary cloth caught in the wind, those familiar with the legend avoid traveling alone after dark. Choking dreams. Urban legends describe individuals waking up in the middle of the night with a sensation of being strangled. These incidents are sometimes attributed to Itten-momen, suggesting it can invade dreams or attack through supernatural means. Social media accounts. In recent years, online platforms have documented alleged encounters with Itten-momen. Users share blurry photos of strange, white objects in the sky, fueling debates about whether these sightings are genuine or fabricated for attention. Why is Itten-momen so frightening? The terror of Itten-momen lies in its combination of simplicity and lethality, deceptive appearance. The notion that something as innocuous as a strip of cloth can turn deadly is deeply unsettling. Inescapable attack. Victims often have no chance to defend themselves, as Itten-momen strikes with speed and precision. Isolation and vulnerability. The Yokai preys on those walking alone at night, exploiting the fear of isolation and the unknown. Cultural significance. Itten-momen is more than just a tale of terror. It reflects themes of respect and caution, respect for tools and materials. The legend may serve as a reminder to treat everyday objects with care and reverence, as neglect or misuse can invite misfortune. Cautionary tale for travelers. Like many Yokai stories, Itten-momen warns against the dangers of venturing out alone, especially in remote or unlit areas. Kasha, the corpse-thieving demon cat. Among Japan's eerie yokai, the kasha stands as a truly horrifying figure, blending feline cunning with supernatural malevolence. These demon-like creatures are said to snatch corpses during funerals, defying the sanctity of death and striking terror into the hearts of mourners. What is a kasha? The term kasha translates to fire cart, hinting at the blazing aura that often accompanies these entities. Kasha are typically depicted as monstrous cats, often oversized and with fiery, glowing eyes. They are said to descend from the skies or emerge from shadows during funerals, seizing the deceased from coffins or graves. While many yokai serve as omens or moral lessons, kasha are unique in their violation of the dead. They are not only feared for their physical power but also for the spiritual havoc they wreak, as they are believed to drag souls to the underworld or trap them in limbo. The origins of the kasha myth. The legend of the kasha is rooted in Japan's deep respect for the dead and funerary customs. Violating these rituals is considered a grave sin, and kasha embody the ultimate fear of such desecration. Cats and superstition. In Japanese folklore, cats have long been seen as mysterious creatures with the potential to become supernatural beings if mistreated or allowed to live too long. It is said that cats over the age of 13, or those with long tails, are more likely to transform into kasha. Punishment for improper burials. Kasha are also believed to target funerals where the deceased led a sinful life or where burial rituals were performed improperly. This connection emphasizes the importance of adhering to religious and cultural rites. Encounters with kasha in ancient times. In historical accounts, kasha sightings are both terrifying and surreal. The stolen corpse. A famous story tells of a village where a wealthy but cruel merchant died. During his funeral, a kasha swooped down in a whirlwind of fire, snatching the body mid-ceremony. Witnesses reported seeing the kasha leaping between rooftops with the corpse in its claws, leaving behind only singed clothing. The priest's trap. In another tale, a clever Buddhist priest devised a trap to thwart a kasha. Knowing the demon would come for a notorious criminal's body, the priest placed a decoy coffin filled with rocks. When the kasha arrived and grabbed the fake coffin, it was said to howl in frustration, its fiery tail lighting up the night. Modern sightings and beliefs. Though rare, tales of kasha persist in modern Japan, especially in rural areas where funerary traditions remain deeply ingrained. Funeral precautions. Some communities still follow old practices to ward off kasha, such as holding to funeral ceremonies one with an empty coffin to confuse the demon. Salt is also commonly scattered around the burial site to purify the area and deter malevolent spirits. Urban legends. Urban legends describe shadowy, cat-like figures seen lurking near cemeteries at night. These sightings are often accompanied by the smell of burning or the sound of distant, ghostly yowling, mysterious grave robberies. In a chilling modern twist, unexplained disturbances in cemeteries such as unearthed graves or missing bodies are occasionally attributed to kasha by locals, blending folklore with real-world fear. Why is the kasha so terrifying? The kasha's horror lies in its violation of one of humanity's most sacred acts, honoring the dead, desecration of corpses. The idea of a loved one's body being stolen and defiled is universally unsettling, making the kasha a deeply disturbing figure. Feline malevolence. Unlike benevolent or neutral yokai, the kasha's cunning and fiery power make it a symbol of chaos and disrespect, fear of damnation. The belief that kasha drag souls to hell or trap them in eternal unrest adds a spiritual dimension to the terror they inspire. Cultural significance. The legend of the kasha serves as both a cautionary tale and a reminder of the sanctity of life and death. By emphasizing proper funerary rites and moral conduct, the kasha myth reinforces cultural values while stoking fear of divine retribution. Koikigin, the furry harbinger of misfortune. Among Japan's fascinating collection of yokai is the koikigin, a small, elusive creature shrouded in soft, thick fur. While its appearance might seem harmless or even endearing, this being is far from benevolent. Associated with disease and bad luck, the koikigin is a reminder of how danger can lurk in unexpected forms. Origins and appearance. The Kukigin's name translates roughly to creature of filth or harbinger of misfortune, and its design reflects its ominous nature. Size and shape. Small and compact, the koikigin is often described as a furry, ball-like creature. Fur. Its most distinctive feature is its dense coat of fur, which can appear disheveled or matted, adding to its unclean, unsettling vibe. Movement. Skittish and secretive, it is said to avoid direct confrontation, choosing to hide in dark, damp places like attics, basements, or abandoned homes. Tales of encounter in the past. The koikigin has appeared in various folklore stories, often as a harbinger of ill health or environmental decay. The sickly family. In one tale, a family living in a once prosperous home found themselves plagued by illness and bad fortune. After seeking the advice of a local priest, they discovered a koikigin nesting in the dark corners of their attic. Upon cleansing the house and driving out the creature, the family's health and fortune improved. The farmer's warning. A farmer in the Edo period claimed to have encountered a koikigin near a damp rice storehouse. Not recognizing the creature, he left it undisturbed. Soon after, his crops began to fail, and his workers fell ill. Villagers later warned him that the Kukigin's presence often marked areas of neglect and decay, urging him to improve his hygiene and environment. Modern-day sightings and interpretations. While sightings of koikigin are rare in modern times, the creature's lore persists, often blending with contemporary concerns. Urban legends. Some urban legends associate koikigin with abandoned apartments or old buildings where illnesses or mysterious misfortunes occur. Modern interpretations describe it as lurking near mold, dust, or poor air quality, symbolizing environmental and personal neglect. Symbol of hygiene awareness. In a way, the koikigin has become a symbolic reminder of the importance of cleanliness and health. Its association with disease can be seen as an early cultural nod to the dangers of unsanitary living conditions. Pop culture appearances. Koikigin occasionally appears in Japanese art, literature, and media, often as a minor yokai or a symbolic warning. Its quirky yet ominous design has made it a subtle favorite among yokai enthusiasts. Why koikigin endures as a legend? Universal fears. The koikigin taps into the universal fear of illness and the unseen dangers lurking in our homes and surroundings. Cultural symbolism. Its connection to hygiene and health reflects Japan's historical emphasis on cleanliness and orderliness as part of daily life. Endearing yet eerie. The juxtaposition of the Kukigin's soft, furry appearance and its sinister connotations makes it both intriguing and unsettling, ensuring its place in Japan's rich folklore tradition. Kunikun, the dancing shadow of the fields. In the rural landscapes of Japan, where rice fields stretch endlessly under the summer sun, there lies a mysterious entity that terrifies all who encounter it. Known as Kunikun, or the Wriggling One, this spectral figure is said to appear as a distant, undulating shape, luring the curious into madness or despair. What is Kunikun? The Kunikun is described as a shadowy, humanoid figure that dances and twists in the breeze. Appearance: at a distance, Kunikun resembles a slender, white or black shape rippling as if made of cloth or smoke. Some accounts liken it to scarecrows or paper streamers fluttering in the wind. However, its true form is indiscernible, as it remains blurry and unreal even when approached. Behavior: Kunikun remains motionless until someone notices it. The closer one gets, the more erratically it moves. Those who stare at it for too long, or try to touch it, are said to be driven insane or even killed. Origins of the legend: the legend of Kunikun is a relatively modern addition to Japanese folklore, spreading primarily through urban legends and internet forums. Symbol of isolation: Kunikun is often associated with Japan's rural areas, where the solitude of expansive fields can play tricks on the mind. Its unsettling nature reflects the unease of being alone in vast, open spaces. Psychological aspect: the Kunikun preys on human curiosity and fear of the unknown. Its ability to drive people mad suggests a connection to psychological torment, making it a metaphor for unchecked curiosity or suppressed fears. Encounters in the past: though Kunikun is considered a modern legend, stories of similar phenomena date back to older times. Farmers' tales: during the Edo period, farmers claimed to see strange shapes moving among the rice fields. These were often attributed to restless spirits or omens of bad harvests. Superstitions: it was believed that staring too long at unusual sights in nature could invite spirits or bad luck. Such beliefs may have contributed to the fear surrounding Kunikun-like apparitions. Modern-day sightings: urban legend spread. Kunikun first gained popularity in the early 2000s through online stories and forums. People began sharing encounters, often set in remote fields during summer, amplifying the eerie allure of the legend. Common themes in sightings: a distant, wavering figure spotted in a rice field. Someone approaches out of curiosity, despite warnings from others. Upon closer inspection, the figure's movement becomes more unnatural, and the individual is overcome with terror or madness. Survivor stories: a common thread in many tales involves a witness who heeds advice to avoid looking directly at Kunikun. These survivors often report an overwhelming sense of dread and an instinctive urge to flee the area. Symbolism of Kunikun: fear of the unseen. Kunikun represents humanity's fear of the incomprehensible. Its vague form and disturbing movement tap into primal anxieties. The danger of curiosity: many Kunikun stories emphasize the consequences of ignoring warnings or succumbing to curiosity, serving as cautionary tales. Isolation in nature: the rural setting of Kunikun encounters highlights the tension between humanity and the natural world. It embodies the unease that can arise in solitary, open environments. Why Kunikun endures: modern relevance. The Kunikun legend resonates in an era where rural traditions intersect with modern fears. Its spread through the internet mirrors how folklore evolves in the digital age. Universal appeal: the concept of a mysterious, maddening figure lurking just out of reach is universally unsettling, making Kunikun a compelling figure in contemporary folklore. Connection to Japan's spiritual landscape: as with many Japanese yokai, Kunikun blurs the line between the physical and spiritual worlds, reflecting cultural beliefs about the interconnectedness of nature and the supernatural. Onibaba, the demon hag of Japanese folklore. Among Japan's most chilling legends is that of the Onibaba, a malevolent witch-like creature known for her ability to disguise herself as a kind old woman to ensnare unsuspecting victims. With her origins deeply rooted in morality tales and karmic retribution, Onibaba has become one of Japan's enduring symbols of fear and caution. Origins and appearance: the word Onibaba translates to demon hag or ogre mother, but her appearance often belies her true nature. Disguise: in her human guise, she appears as a frail, kind-looking old woman, often living in solitude in a small, isolated hut. True form: when revealed, she transforms into a terrifying demon with sharp teeth, clawed hands, and glowing, hateful eyes. Her hunched figure and wild hair add to her menacing presence. Tales of encounter in the past. Onna-Baba's story is often a cautionary tale about trust, greed, and the consequences of one's actions. Several versions of her legend exist, but these are among the most well-known. The Mother's Heart. One of the most famous versions tells of an old woman who lived in a lonely hut near Adakigahara. She was hired to help a woman deliver a child, only to be asked to kill and retrieve the heart of a newborn to cure another's illness. Consumed by desperation and hunger, she completed the task, only to find the infant was her own grandchild. Overcome with grief and madness, she became Onna-Baba, forever cursed to prey on travelers. The Monk's Test. In another tale, a wandering monk encountered a kindly old woman who offered him shelter. As he rested, he overheard her muttering plans to kill and eat him. He fled into the night, but the Onna-Baba pursued him relentlessly, revealing her true form. Only through prayer and divine intervention was he able to escape. The Village Encounter. Local villagers often warn children to avoid isolated huts or strangers in the woods. Stories tell of travelers who ignored these warnings and vanished, later discovered as skeletons in the Onna-Baba's lair, surrounded by cooking pots and human bones. Modern-day sightings and relevance. Though the days of isolated huts and wandering monks are long gone, the legend of Onna-Baba persists in modern Japan. Urban legends. Stories now tell of Onna-Baba inhabiting abandoned buildings or remote areas. Some hikers and urban explorers claim to hear whispers or see shadowy figures resembling an old woman before vanishing into thin air. Themes in media. Onna-Baba's story has inspired countless retellings in film, manga, and literature. The 1964 Japanese horror film Onna-Baba explores themes of betrayal and supernatural vengeance, cementing her as a cultural icon. Cultural morality tale. Onna-Baba is often invoked as a cautionary tale to children, warning them to be wary of strangers or to respect their elders. The story also carries an undercurrent of karmic retribution, reminding audiences of the consequences of greed, betrayal, and neglect. Why Onna-Baba endures as a legend. Fear of the unknown. Onna-Baba embodies the timeless fear of hidden threats. Her ability to disguise herself resonates with the universal fear of deception. Moral lessons. Her stories often serve as parables, teaching humility, respect, and the dangers of succumbing to darker impulses. Universal archetype. The image of the deceptive crone or wicked witch exists in cultures worldwide, making Onna-Baba's tale both unique to Japan and universally relatable. Sagari, the haunting horse-head spirit. Among the more unsettling figures in Japanese folklore is the Sagari, a disembodied horse head said to haunt trees and roadways. While not as famous as other yokai, its eerie appearance and mournful cries have cemented its place in local legends, particularly in rural Japan. What is a Sagari? The name Sagari roughly translates to hanging or dangling, reflecting the spirit's form and behavior. Appearance. A Sagari is typically described as the severed head of a horse, often decayed and lifeless, yet animated by supernatural energy. Its eyes glow with a ghostly light, and its mane appears disheveled. Behavior. Sagari spirits are known for hanging from trees, especially those along lonely roads or near sacred grounds. They emit ghostly whinnies and mournful cries, which instill fear and unease in passersby. Origins of the legend. The Sagari's roots lie in Japan's deep respect for animals, particularly working animals like horses. Connection to horses. In the past, horses were vital for transportation and farming, especially in rural areas. The mistreatment or accidental death of these animals could lead to guilt and fear of spiritual retribution. Rituals and beliefs. In some regions, it was believed that improperly buried horse remains could lead to the creation of a Sagari. To prevent this, people would perform rituals to honor deceased horses, ensuring they found peace in the afterlife. Encounters in the past. The Lone Rider's Tale. A story from Kyushu tells of a merchant traveling through a forest at dusk. He heard faint, mournful neighing and stopped beneath a large tree. Looking up, he saw the decaying head of a horse staring down at him. Paralyzed with fear, the merchant fled, but he later fell ill, attributing his misfortune to the Sagari's curse. Farmers' superstitions. Farmers in some areas avoided planting crops near certain trees, fearing that sagari spirits inhabited them. These trees were often marked or avoided entirely, creating natural boundaries in rural landscapes. Modern-day sightings. While less common in today's urbanized Japan, the sagari legend persists in certain rural regions and through modern interpretations. Abandoned roads and forests. Some travelers claim to hear eerie horse-like sounds near isolated roads or ancient trees. Even without seeing the sagari, these sounds are enough to evoke fear and hesitation. Urban legends. In modern retellings, the sagari has taken on new forms. Some stories describe its presence near construction sites where old trees were uprooted, suggesting that disturbing the natural environment can awaken such spirits. Pop culture appearances. The sagari occasionally appears in horror media, representing the consequences of neglecting or disrespecting animals and nature. Its grotesque form and sorrowful cries make it a striking figure in modern yokai depictions. Why the sagari endures. Reflection of guilt. The sagari embodies human guilt and fear surrounding the mistreatment of animals, a theme that resonates across cultures. Connection to nature. Like many Japanese yokai, the sagari highlights the delicate balance between humans and the natural world, serving as a warning against environmental disruption. Timeless fear of the unseen. The idea of an unseen presence haunting the dark woods taps into primal fears, ensuring the sagari's place in both traditional and modern storytelling. Shiro-oneri, the spirit of the old rag. Among Japan's many yokai, the Shiro-oneri stands out for its eerie, yet humble origin. A spirit born from a neglected piece of cloth, it serves as a reminder of the consequences of wastefulness and neglect. The Shiro-oneri floats silently through the air, seeking revenge or resolution for its mistreatment, leaving unease and fear in its wake. What is a Shiro-oneri? The name Shiro-oneri translates to white floating rag, reflecting its physical form and ethereal nature. Appearance. Shiro-oneri takes the form of an old, tattered cloth or rag, often stained and discolored from years of neglect. Despite its mundane appearance, it exudes a ghostly aura, sometimes accompanied by faint, unsettling whispers. Behavior. Shiro-oneri is said to drift aimlessly through the air, occasionally seeking out its former owner, or those who failed to care for it. It can entangle its victim, causing suffocation or overwhelming feelings of guilt. Origins of the legend. The Shiro-oneri legend is rooted in the Japanese philosophy of tsukumogami, the belief that objects can gain sentience after 100 years, especially if mistreated or abandoned. Respect for objects. In traditional Japanese culture, even everyday items were treated with care and respect, as they were seen as having a spirit or essence. The neglect or disposal of such items without gratitude was thought to lead to the creation of vengeful spirits like the Shiro-oneri. Symbol of wastefulness. The Shiro-oneri serves as a warning against waste and carelessness. Its haunting form reminds people of the value of even the simplest possessions. Encounters in the past. The merchant's curse. A tale from the Edo period tells of a merchant who carelessly discarded old fabrics after his shop thrived. One night, a dirty cloth floated into his room, wrapping around his neck as he slept. He survived the encounter but lost his business soon after, attributing his misfortune to the Shiro-oneri. Village folklore. In rural areas, families believed that burning or properly disposing of old cloths was essential to prevent them from turning into Shiro-oneri. Special ceremonies were sometimes held to honor household items before discarding them. Modern-day sightings. While sightings of Shiro-oneri have faded with the decline of traditional practices, the legend remains relevant in modern contexts. Urban myths. Some claim to have seen floating rags in abandoned houses or near garbage dumps. These encounters are often dismissed as optical illusions, but for believers, they are proof that even discarded objects can harbor resentment. Modern waste culture. The rise of consumerism has led to renewed interest in yokai like Shiro-oneri, as their stories highlight the environmental and spiritual costs of excessive waste. In media and art, Shiro-oneri occasionally appears in yokai-themed media, often symbolizing the forgotten or neglected. Its haunting form makes it a compelling figure in modern horror stories and anime. Why the Shiro-oneri endures. Cultural values. The Shiro-oneri embodies Japanese values of minimalism and respect for objects, resonating with those who seek to reconnect with traditional practices. Environmental relevance. In an age of increasing waste and environmental degradation, the story of Shiro Inari serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences of carelessness. Universal fear of the mundane. The idea of something as ordinary as a rag becoming a vengeful spirit taps into primal fears, making the Shiro Inari both relatable and unsettling. Zashiki-warashi, the benevolent child spirit. Among Japan's most beloved yokai is the Zashiki-warashi, a childlike spirit said to inhabit traditional Japanese homes. Unlike many supernatural entities, this spirit is not one to be feared. On the contrary, it is often welcomed as a bringer of good fortune and prosperity. However, its favor is not guaranteed. Earning its trust requires respect and kindness. What is a Zashiki-warashi? The name Zashiki-warashi derives from zashiki, a traditional tatami-floored room in a house, often used for entertaining guests, warashi, an old term for child. This combination highlights the spirit's connection to domestic spaces and its youthful appearance. Appearance. Zashiki-warashi usually manifests as a child aged 5 to 10, often dressed in traditional Japanese attire like kimono. Some stories describe them with slightly red cheeks, a playful smile, or messy hair, further emphasizing their childlike innocence. Behavior. Known for their mischievous antics, they might hide objects, play pranks, or create soft laughter and footsteps in empty rooms. Tales of encounter. In the past, the Zashiki-warashi has been a part of Japanese folklore for centuries, particularly in rural areas and traditional households. The Prosperous Inn. A famous story from Iwate Prefecture tells of an old inn where guests reported seeing a Zashiki-warashi. The owners noticed that whenever the spirit was present, their business flourished and good fortune followed. However, when the Zashiki-warashi left, the inn's fortunes declined, leading to its eventual abandonment. The Lonely Farmer. In another tale, a poor farmer noticed strange occurrences in his home, laughter in empty rooms, toys scattered around, and food disappearing. Initially fearful, he soon realized these were the actions of a Zashiki-warashi. Treating the spirit with kindness, the farmer's luck began to change, with abundant harvests and new opportunities. Modern-day encounters. In today's world, sightings of Zashiki-warashi are rare but still cherished. Their legend endures, blending seamlessly with modern interpretations. Hotels and inns. Some traditional inns in Japan market themselves as homes to Zashiki-warashi, inviting guests to stay in blessed rooms. Travelers who experience minor pranks, like misplaced slippers or flickering lights, often consider these signs of the spirit's presence. Urban stories. Urban legends have emerged where Zashiki-warashi spirits are said to reside in abandoned apartments or homes. Unlike their rural counterparts, these modern Zashiki-warashi sometimes take on a melancholic tone, reflecting themes of loneliness or neglect in urban life. Pop culture. Zashiki-warashi frequently appears in anime, manga, and films as a benevolent yet cheeky character. These portrayals help keep the spirit's image alive for younger generations, blending tradition with modern entertainment. Why Zashiki-warashi remains a cultural icon, symbol of domestic harmony. The Zashiki-warashi represents the traditional belief that a home is more than just a physical space. It is a sanctuary where harmony and respect nurture prosperity. Connection to Japanese values. The spirit embodies values like kindness, hospitality, and reverence for unseen forces, reflecting Japan's deep cultural roots. Timeless charm. Its mischievous yet kind-hearted nature makes it an endearing figure, transcending the fear often associated with yokai.
If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Mystical Tales, so you won't miss out on more eerie and thrilling tales in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.